Welcome to this explainer breaking down the dramatic 2026 World Cup quarterfinal clash between Spain and Belgium. We're looking at an absolutely thrilling match that unfolded at the SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, in front of over 70,000 screaming fans. It was a game defined by tactical masterclasses, heartbreaking injuries, and sheer last-minute heroics. So let's just dive right in and break down exactly how it happened.
How do you break down a team that simply refuses to lose? That was the ultimate question hovering over LA. Going into this match, we had a massive tactical puzzle on our hands. On one side, you've got Spain. They're the reigning European champions, and they boasted a completely unblemished defensive record at this World Cup. Seriously, they hadn't conceded a single goal all tournament. On the other side, a super resilient, surging Belgian squad under coach Rudy Garcia. Belgium was coming off a massive 4-1 thrashing of the US, and they were absolutely thriving in their self-proclaimed role as the underdog. The stakes, well, they literally couldn't have been higher.
Right from the opening whistle, we witnessed this profound clash of styles. Spain arrived with their trademark identity. Patient, possession-heavy, basically smothering opponents by hoarding the ball. Belgium, on the other hand, set up to absorb all that pressure and strike back with a lethal counterattacking threat. It was like watching an intricate chess match. Spain is trying to dictate the tempo, while Belgium, fueled by the sheer pace of Jeremy Doku and the incredible vision of Kevin De Bruyne, they're just waiting for the exact right millisecond to spring their traps.
Now that tension finally broke in the 30th minute. Spain's Lamine Yamal feeds Pedro Porro, who cuts it back for Dani Olmo. Belgian keeper Thibaut Courtois makes a great initial save, but Fabian Ruiz is right there, Johnny on the spot, to slam home the rebound, putting Spain up 1-0. At that point, it kind of felt like Spain might just cruise, right? But no way. Belgium hit back fast. Just 11 minutes later, bam! Kevin De Bruyne plays this swift first-time pass to Timothy Castagne. He delivers an absolute peach of a cross, and Charles de Ketelaere gets ahead of Spanish defender Pau Cubarsí to launch into a brilliant flying header. Suddenly, it's 1-1 and we have a brand new ballgame.
And you have to realize, de Ketelaere didn't just equalize the match. He shattered a massive milestone. That header officially ended Spanish goalkeeper Unai Simon's unbelievable 650-minute clean sheet streak. 650 minutes without conceding a single goal in World Cup action. That was actually the very first time Spain's defense had been breached in the entire 2026 tournament. Really puts it into perspective, doesn't it?
To truly understand how this game was won and lost, we need to pause the timeline for a second and look at the midfield ratings. This is the true tactical anchor of the match. Spain's Rodri? He earned a commanding 8.0, putting on an absolute masterclass. He was the literal foundation of Spain's performance. He systematically dismantled Belgium's creative engines, distributing the ball with that characteristic precision of his, even under intense pressure. And because of Rodri's immense tactical discipline, Belgium playmakers Kevin De Bruyne and Hans van Aken, who only scored 6.7 and 6.2 respectively, they just could never impose the influence that their attacking system desperately needed.
The direct result of Rodri's dominance is crystal clear in the possession numbers. Spain held a suffocating 69% of the ball compared to Belgium's 31%. They completely, totally controlled the tempo of the match, racking up almost 3 times as many passes as their opponents. Spain was actively dictating exactly where and how the game was played, and that just forced a tired Belgian side deeper and deeper into their own half as the match dragged on.
So, you're probably wondering, what did Spain actually do with all that possession? Well, a huge chunk of it went through an absolute sensation. 17-year-old Lamine Yamal. Seriously, all of Spain's pretty but patient build-up was fed right through his artistry and industry on the wing. It is genuinely awe-inspiring to see someone so young dictate play at this massive level. He finished top of the creative charts with 6 efforts at goal and 4 successful dribbles. He even produced this dazzling turn on the touchline that stopped the ball dead and sent the crowd absolutely wild. His performance officially made him the youngest player ever to produce a match-winning quarterfinal contribution in World Cup history. Just incredible.
But despite Spain's dominance, Belgium was holding on, largely thanks to the heroics of their goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois. And then, we hit a really tragic turning point. In the 72nd minute, Courtois was forced off the pitch in tears, clutching his thigh. It was a devastating blow for Belgium. It instantly removed a giant obstacle from Spain's path. With their standout keeper out, the untested Sene Lammens was suddenly thrust into the unbelievable pressure cooker of a World Cup quarter-final.
Okay, so let's map out these final moments because the tension escalated incredibly fast. 71st minute, the injured Courtois makes way for Lamens. As the clock ticks down and extra time is looming over everyone, Spanish coach Luis de la Fuente decides to roll the dice. At the 86th-minute mark, he brings on Mikel Merino. And just 2 minutes later, in the 88th minute, disaster strikes for Belgium. Lamens spills a low shot from Pau Cabarsi, and right there is the super sub Merino pouncing on the rebound to absolutely smash home the winner.
The defining number of this match, 117. That is exactly how many seconds Mikel Merino had been on the pitch before he scored the decisive goal. 117 seconds. He scored with just his second touch of the football. I mean, talk about the sheer speed of a super sub impact. He wasn't even on the field for 2 full minutes before entirely altering the landscape of the 2026 World Cup.
And what's truly absurd about this achievement is that Merino has kind of made a habit of this. With this goal, Mikel Merino became the first player in World Cup history to score 2 knockout stage winning goals as a substitute. If you recall, he did the exact same thing against Portugal in the previous round. As the man himself said with a smile after the match, almost in disbelief, "I've done this again and it's happened to me again, so it would seem that coincidence exists."
But beyond all the incredible stats, there's this wonderfully human angle to the dramatic climax. Merino's 2-month-old son Marco was actually watching from the stands in LA. When asked about his heroics, Merino offered this heartwarming explanation for his goal. He said, "As he wasn't there for the quarterfinals, I had to do it in the semifinal too so he could experience it as well. He essentially willed his team into the next round just so his newborn could attend a World Cup semifinal." It adds such a fantastic personal layer to an already unforgettable footballing moment.
The significance of Merino's goal for his country really cannot be overstated. 16 years. That is exactly how long it's been since Spain last reached a World Cup semifinal, dating all the way back to their legendary 2010 run. After years of falling short on the biggest global stage, La Roja has finally broken through the ceiling once again.
So what should you take away from this explainer? Well, it's that Spain is looking terrifyingly complete right now. This incredible win extends their unbeaten streak to a staggering 36 matches. That's a run dating all the way back to March 2023. Actually, think about this. Their coach, Luis de la Fuente, has now managed 13 games at major tournaments without a single loss. Next up for them, a tantalizing blockbuster clash with tournament favorites France in the Texas semifinal. Which leaves us with one final, unavoidable question as we look toward the culmination of the 2026 World Cup. With an impenetrable midfield, clinical wide players, and a substitute who seemingly bends time and space to score late winners, can anyone stop La Roja's historic run? We're going to find out soon enough. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time as we continue to break down the biggest stories in the tournament.